All right, everybody. It's the Arty 84 show live here from quarantine week 15 or 16 or 20. I can't remember how long. In studio with me, of course, is Eric Danger Powers with his Cam Newton shirt.
Go Cam.
To my left, up and above, we have Ryan Glover. Below him, Adam DeMallets. And second time on the show, special guest all the way from New York City, Mac OHara. What's up, buddy?
Thank you. I'm doing all right. A little light.
Surviving. And how you boys doing over there in quarantine? Adam, long time no see. I haven't seen you in a while.
It's been a couple of hours. I know. I miss you.
Yeah, and Ryan looks like he's like in the Caribbean right now.
I wish you.
I was just we were complimenting his shirt before the show started, and we were saying that when we finally have the cookout here, I need that shirt. It definitely looked like your
shirt looks like the opening to Saved by the Bell. Just shit fucking
I'm
around.
Saved by the Bell, man.
Yeah.
It was great show.
Those pineapples?
No, I don't think so.
They looks like leaves, right? Are they leaves?
Flowers, I think.
Yeah, flowers. Yeah, pineapples would mean you're swinging.
I have a pineapple shirt. I can't wait to wear it to a cookout.
When you have pineapple's the international symbol for swinging.
Just in a basket. It doesn't mean just a pineapple anywhere.
No, pineapple anywhere.
Does it mean a shopping basket?
I know. Ask Adam. He was walking around Stop and Shop with an upside down pineapple once.
Yeah, I tried to test the theory out, and I put an upside-down pineapple in my cart, and then an old lady asked me if I could grab something off of a shelf. Now, it's probably a coincidence, but I'm like, is this like the next round? Like, Is this like you walk around with a pineapple, and then they have to make sure that, you're legit? So they're like, okay, I'm going to ask him now if he can grab something from the shelf.
Yeah,
is that like where it goes from there?
She grabs something, puts your hand in her, depends.
Then you had sex with her. Oh yeah, giggity.
Yeah, can you grab something for me? The cobwebs out of my beaver?
Old. Yeah.
Maybe she wanted you to knock the dust off it.
I mean, listen.
Maybe she heard about your dick swinging and wanted to die because you'd probably kill an old lady.
Okay, that is like you're treading on Arty territory. That's like the fourth time you've already mentioned my dick, Eric.
How is that Arty territory? I haven't mentioned your penis in weeks.
I know you haven't, but you used to.
Well, mine.
That's what I mean.
Mine
mentioned it like 4 times.
Mine went with it. I didn't just say. He just drops it whenever. Mine actually went with what we were talking. Like you go in the bathroom and say, "Shut the door, so we'll see your dick," and then you're like, "What I just forgot what
Even
I just
if
said."
you did, you'd still see it. If it's that big.
And now we talk about sex with a really old lady. You'd probably kill her, and those are facts.
I heard the astronauts.
Actual facts thrown at you.
The astronauts in the International Space Station can see Woobin, and specifically Adam's penis from some space. So it's something to keep an eye on when you're out there in outer space. And if you're flying in an airplane and you're coming in for a landing path over Woobin, just look down.
Well, I mean, it doesn't have a beacon on it.
That was my next question. Do you have to put like a little hat on it?
It's not bedazzled or anything like that,
A little hat with a little glowing ball on the top.
Now, we were talking about pineapples and swingers, and I know at least 3/5 of us have been at a swingers club at one point or another in our life, so I'm not going to incriminate any of us who have, but I know for a fact, and perhaps the other 2/5 have, and we haven't known about it. I don't think Mac has. I don't think he's allowed to go in there. He's at the age yet to go into those places.
When I was in L.A., it would not have been an appropriate time for me to...
Were you with your family? Because that's a weird thing to ask your family if you can.
Well, I was like 10.
Oh, yeah.
That's weird for a 10-year-old.
We're borderline, almost crossing the line.
Maybe in Mississippi that would be allowed.
A face doesn't work when you're 10.
No. It's like, Adam, didn't you go to Vegas before you were 21?
No, I was like 22.
Oh, no.
Like 23.
Someone I know went to Vegas before they were 21. They said he was walking around. It was pointless. Like, you can't do anything.
Wasn't your sister under 21?
I also went to Vegas when I was 10.
We were at the swingers clubs in Vegas.
Yeah.
Because remember what happens in Vegas, everyone ends up finding out. Because I
feel like now, though, they've kind of built it up to where you can be younger and find shit to do.
I was glad I went in my 20s.
Yeah,
when my parents, they used to always go to Vegas like since I was little, and like when I was younger, it was nothing to do in Vegas at all. Like it was the worst thing ever. I hated it because it's like but like now they actually have like cool stuff like New York and stuff for kids and stuff. But when I was like younger,
they have roller coasters and stuff.
Yeah.
I saw Penn and Teller there, I think so.
They got this cool thing that I want to check out that you can actually use like heavy equipment. And you could dig holes and shit with like professional backhoes and plows and stuff like this.
Why is that even fun?
Yeah, I've seen shit like they have shit you can like blow up like cars and stuff. They like take you out in the middle of the fucking desert. You can like shoot like at the cars and like blow them up.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Did that. I blew up a tank.
Sounds like fun. Let's do it.
Expensive, but I do it.
It's like one of those things like when
A rocket launcher or something?
yeah, that'd be fun.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I suggest you try. I suggest you do it.
There's no way. There must be limits. There's no way they're gonna trust somebody. Like, here's a grenade. Like, there's no
Well,
way.
no,
They let Arty have
I
a
know
machine
you
gun.
can pay for the missile launcher. I know that, but I don't think a tank. But I think a missile launcher, that is a thing.
No, I was in the army. I shot a missile launcher at a tank. I blew up a tank.
You got to go to like Zimbabwe or something to do that. You can shoot like a zebra or
It's
something.
like extreme tourism, like the places like that when you can go to like Chernobyl and you go tour it, like it's extreme. Like that's something Adam might see you do. You seem like an extreme guy. I could see you going to Chernobyl to explore.
Chernobyl?
Yeah, I think I would. I would.
Isn't their radiation almost clean? When did they say that was
Well,
gonna be
No,
clean?
it's not gonna be clean for like 1,000
No,
years.
is it?
But,
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
it's you can be there for a short period of time. It's okay.
They're like
But,
constantly on a daily basis for the last 45 years pouring concrete over the reactor. So
Yeah.
like, eventually it'll be in a coffin on the ground. But you think it gets too heavy and falls through?
they just put a new casing over it recently.
Yeah, the old
Yeah.
Chernobyl. they call it the old Chernobyl condom. Make sure no one else gets affected. That's gonna be the creepiest city in the world, though, because you got like the Ferris wheel still there. Like that's it's actually the creepy shit. It's not so much the buildings; it's like the stuff that people would do for like activities that's still like frozen in time. It hasn't been touched.
Oh, I know that. That's cool though. I think that's really cool.
I know, I
wonder
think
what the wildlife is like.
Oh.
They say the wildlife is running rampant in there, but like, what's going on with them? Do they have like freaking 5 eyes? Like, what the hell?
Yeah, you don't
They
want
can't
to.
be healthy.
No, there's some. What are you doing? You turn your volume off.
I don't know why it's on.
Some days. So it looks like we're getting at sports. Baseball schedule just came out. Football seems to be on the right pace.
Broad's got COVID.
Basketball, all the basketball teams just went down to Orlando.
Very sad.
MLS starts tonight, playing some games. And what's the only
already going?
golf's going? NASCAR's been going. So it looks like
UFC's been going for
UFC,
a
yeah.
while.
Yeah,
I think UFC stopped one pay-per-view, wasn't it?
and they don't care. The UFC, because there's no one in the crowd, right? It's just crowdless.
Well, no one in the crowd, and then they don't let trainers and stuff if they test positive.
Yeah, so
And everyone wears a mask.
there you go.
They don't care. UFC, because there's no one in the crowd, right? It's just
Yeah,
crowdless.
no one in the crowd, and then
I just heard myself.
Is there
Yeah.
a fifth person? I mean, fifth, is there another person on the screen? I could have sworn.
No,
I heard
it's-
someone talking. Nobody's mouth was moving.
That was me. Someone else. I guess someone had the show on. I was coming
Oh,
back
okay.
to
I
the
was
speaker.
gonna say.
No, it's me doing
Hey, Arty,
rhymes.
Did you see the pitching rotation at the like Eduardo Rodriguez? He's like our number one starter, but he's
got-
out now. He
yeah,
has
he's got
he
COVID.
has COVID,
He does
so
have
he's not going
COVID.
to be able to start. Well, our number 2 starter throws 85 miles an hour. By the way, this is going to be one of the worst Red Sox pitching staffs.
So the pitching staff looks like not good. And they
Horrible.
didn't add anything to the bullpen.
It's a
and-
throwaway
and
year
it's
for
everywhere.
anybody.
But the offense is still pretty comparable. I think we still have a pretty decent good offense. So if we could put up numbers and just hit balls,
Yeah, the only loss was Mookie.
if you just hit, I think you could fake yourself into the playoffs. Just
Still have
hitting.
Chevet.
It's like any team, right? If you have enough
Yeah, it's
offense, you can
possible.
get there. But
But-
to win it all, you really need defense at the end. Very few teams in all sports really just win with a offensive game plan, right? We've seen that in football and basketball, fail, or even hockey, people just score. For example, the Bruins last year just scored, and
But didn't score when they needed
didn't
it.
score when they needed it. So, but I think I'm calling it right now. Red Sox win the World Series this year. I'm going on a limb here
Right?
That's very bold.
because
Even with like 4 of the players having COVID-19,
you know what I think.
It's such a throw up this year with everyone getting sick.
I think COVID-19 actually gives you special powers, like Spider-Man, and
Yeah.
gives you the ability. So, like a second guy in the Patriots and the Red Sox lineup, I don't even know his name, but he only pitches 85. He will get COVID and he'll pitch 105. He'll die probably in December, but from a heart attack. But
He's going to pitch his fever temperature.
that'd be awesome. Imagine that.
There it is.
I mean, that's impressive if anyone can pitch to fever temperature, because
I watched a little of the Cubs inter squad game, and it just was boring with no fans.
they're gonna have blow up dolls and stuff in the crowd and everything. It's gonna be great.
Just play.
Yeah, they're doing that with
people,
basketball too. I think.
Let people in the freaking
The
crowd.
bubble thing in the NBA. I don't know if you guys see any of the footage. They were using like a hotel, like lobby, rooms and stuff, and they were setting up courts and everything like that. I think it's kind of crazy. Like, I don't know. I understand some of the players. Like, I know Gordon Hayward on the Celtics says his wife is due to have the baby in like September or October, and he said straight out, if the Celtics make the playoffs, I can't play in the playoffs. I have to go to my wife who said, but I can see it two ways. This is like his 20th kid. So like by the 20th kid, you should be like, yeah, she should be able to. That thing should just slide out by itself, and the kid be talking by the time it comes back, right? But then I can understand the family aspect because I think he's. I don't know if he's Mormon or he's like very religious in that manner. Like he like has to, you know what I mean? So I can understand that perspective as well. But like, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's not.
You have more kids than Philip Rivers?
No, Philip Rivers has 38
only
kids.
Cromartie has more kids.
Yeah, no, yeah. See, the Cromartie and Philip Rivers have the same amount of kids. The only difference is Philip Rivers has one baby mama, where Cromartie has like 14.
They're forfeiting their money if they don't play, right? They're still not getting paid.
Yeah, no, you forfeit your money.
Yeah.
You pretty much call it a wash. But the baseball, because they didn't have that clause in the contract, they could turn around and sue next year if they want to for damages. So, but do you see the scumbag move the NFL is doing now? So there was an average that there's two teams that make more than half their money off ticket sales. And that's the Dallas Cowboys and New England Patriots. They make like 2/3 of their money off ticket sales, whereas the other teams make about 30% off their profits off ticket sales. So the NFL is actually docking their players' salary by 30% and making them eat the loss of the ticket sales this year if there's no people in the crowd. Which is
Do they have to play?
They don't have to play, but I don't think they get paid if they don't play.
Oh.
So it's a scumbag move when you see so these billionaire owners are making the players take the hit for the lost revenue from the gates, which doesn't make any sense at all. But especially when they're still going to play the 16-plus games that they're going to be playing anyway. So like their line of work isn't changing. They're still going up to work. They still get the same amount of work to do. The owners are just taking a hit off concessions and ticket sales. And, honestly, if the stadiums do open, you're probably going to see limited amount of like beer sales and like food sales because they don't want people, getting too many people in the concourses and stuff. So they're going to take some hits on concessions as well. But I mean, isn't that part about doing business? Some years you have good years, some years you have bad years. Why should your employees? That's like if you work for a company, right? And you took a loss, right? The company took a loss as a whole because of the economics or because of coronavirus. And your boss turns around and says, yeah, sorry, we're going to pay you a 30th salary this year. Like, wouldn't you tell him to go fuck himself? I mean, I would.
Right. I mean, the only way that would make sense is if at the beginning of the contract they had said, well, a large part of what you do is bringing fans in, so we're going to make a % of your revenue part of the ticket sales and then give you that.
Yeah.
But that was never part of the contract. So there was nothing in there saying that this money is because of the fans that you bring in.
Yeah. I mean, in the same beat, you could say that like the team, like say the Jaguars, they don't fill the stadium every year, or the old when the Raiders were in Oakland, that you could turn around to your players and be like, yeah, we didn't sell out as many games as we did, so we're going to take some money off the top of your contract, and But I think that's the risk. Like look at Mahomes, right? Signs a half a $500 million contract.
400 something.
That's dumb on both parts.
And he's only going to see about 300 probably million. Because frankly,
I think like 140 something million of it's guaranteed.
Yeah,
somewhere around there.
So you figure the guy has at least 5 solid years left that he's going to be paid, right? And then after that, you drop down. So, but here's the problem: you give that much money to one player. How are you going to build a team around the player with all the money isolated to 25% of your cap is going to one guy? And like that doesn't seem economically correct. Like how does like a team like that? And the countdown begins. How's a team like that like function for the long term? You know what I mean? To me, it doesn't seem like it's feasible to get.
How much does the cap go up every year? I know it goes up a certain %, right? Doesn't it?
I think it varies. I think it varies on the TV deal. So like,
it's gotta be like what that deal? What was it? I think it was baseball. Not Bobby Bonilla, but a deal locked a player in. They just couldn't do anything. What team was that? I know that happened.
Sounds like the Boston Red Sox every year.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
There was like a big thing they got like some super. Was it Miami? Dan Marino?
Well, Castillo.
Yeah, well, I know we're stuck for Castillo
playing,
down there. We can't bring him up because we bring him up to the majors. We have to hit on our salary cap.
There's no minor league baseball this year, so does he still get paid?
No, I don't believe so.
I think so.
But you think he'd be nice since he was making $15 million a year as a minor league baseball player.
That guy's gonna retire a minor league baseball player with all that money.
Matt, do you remember Castillo? He was the guy from Cuba who the Yankees and Red Sox were going at it to get, and the Red Sox ended up getting him.
Yeah.
But they gave him this huge contract as a minor league player, and I think he only played like 15 major league games but they can't. He has such a hit to the luxury tax over the cap that they can't bring him up to the majors because when they do, it screws. And all of a sudden, the owners of the Red Sox are paying ridiculous money to the luxury tax for this one guy who's a really good AAA player, but an average major league player getting paid what like some really good major league players should be getting that don't. You know what I mean?
Probably picks up a lot of dinners down there in Pawtucket.
I'm sure he's at the strip clubs because, as we all know, prostitution's basically legal in Providence. So, as long as you're in a strip club, you can do whatever you want. Allegedly,
they're doing dances and tents and shit. And
Max, as soon as the quarantine's over, Max shooting up to Rhode Island.
Yeah, I'm gonna be transferring.
I mean, I think it's only 18 years old to get in some of those places down in Rhode Island, so you might be all right.
Sure is.
He's gonna be taking the Amtrak to Providence from Grand Central Station. His parents are gonna be like, "Where'd Matt go? He was disappeared for like 2 days. Cashed out his bank account. And he's sitting there with the Foxy Lady." We should do a show from the Foxy Lady one night. That'd be fun.
Think they let you?
I don't know.
Set that up.
We should get an RV.
Well, hey, I do golf with the squad.
Oh, there you go. We should get an RV and just do the show. Do a couple of shows from the RV, right? But like park it in the parking lots of the clubs, and then we can have like, the girls just come in. We can interview them and stuff, and
That'd be funny.
I think it'd be a great promotional gig. I think if we could all work this out, we can all be happy. It makes everyone happy. You know what I mean? Our wives may not be too happy.
Maybe we
with
could do it with the Squire. That's that guy. That's that guy, man. Maybe we'll do it with the Squire. A little test
Did
run.
you guys watch the new Unsolved Mysteries on Netflix?
No, I haven't watched it. You talk about
That was a thing.
Yeah, I didn't know it was already out.
It's like I have trouble watching it because it creeps me out because the freaking theme music is just like it terrified me as a little kid. Just like hearing the theme music to that show. So watch. It is. It's really creepy. And Robert Stack, that creepy old guy, used to narrate too. It's even creepier. So it's like every time I watch it, I hear that music and those stupid piano keys, and I just start freaking out. I have to like skip the intro because there's nothing more terrifying. I mean, it's real. Like even when I was younger and I watched it, I realized that it was real. Like I remember watching like stuff like RoboCop and like people getting their limbs blown off, and like that didn't really affect me. But like shit like that, where people just go missing and they can't find a fucking body, that I find terrifying. Like, because that's just scary. Someone could disappear from the earth.
Is it the same music that they had back in the day?
Yeah, it's a little tweaked a little bit in the beginning. It's a little, but it still sounds pretty much
as America's Most Wanted, man. When you're sitting, you watch. I was in Tahoe in a freaking shitty ass hotel because I booked late. Watching America's Most Wanted, and they're like, in this hotel, and I'm like, I swore it was my hotel. Like that, you start freaking out because you're like, that's my hotel. Like, so somebody was murdered here, and all that shit happens.
I do remember how creepy Unsolved Mystery was, though. Yeah, like you're right, because he would be like in the shadows, and you'd be talking. You'd be like, Labor Day, 1972.
What else does he does the commercials too, right? What else?
He was in Airplane.
He's not
wasn't
alive anymore. I don't know.
What else did he do?
He was in
the guy in basketball was the Salmon.
But the Unsolved Mystery guys was an Airplane, right?
No, that's not Leslie. That's not.
No, it was an Airplane. It wasn't an Airplane. It was something like
one of those old movies.
Something like that, though. Yeah, Google him.
He was a badass.
Yeah.
You never. That's one show.
Out.
That's one show you never want to be on.
Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah.
Or America's Most Wanted.
Or America's Most
You never
Wanted,
want to be Patient Zero, and you never want to be on Unsolved Mysteries. Yes.
Yeah, you don't want to be the first guy to have sex with a monkey. And next thing you know, everyone has AIDS. Like, you don't want that to be...
I recommend it. Check it out. It's creepy. It's good, though.
You don't want to be the guy who ate the bat stew in China who now gave us all coronavirus.
Do you think that guy knows he's the guy?
He died. The original guy died.
Who, the coronavirus guy?
Yeah, the guy who ate
How
the
do you
bat.
know?
Because they said they tracked it down. Yeah, they tracked it down and he's dead.
No, you know where he is?
They probably killed him.
He's in Providence right now getting a lap dance in a tent in a parking lot.
What's the host's name again? What'd you say?
Unsolved Mysteries.
Something stacked.
Why is it?
Stacks
why wouldn't he be the first person?
From Goodfellas? You'll get a bitch in here, Stacks. Everyone's in depth.
Why the fuck wouldn't he be the first person on a...
What do we get for time? Just give you a 4-minute warning before we get shut off. Last week we were doing the show and all of a sudden it was like electricity
Robert
died
Stack.
up.
Right, yeah.
Was he in Airplane?
Not an Airplane.
He was in something. You're right. We're close.
He's an actor.
Say Stack? Robert Stack?
He was an actor back in the
Stack.
50s and the 60s.
The names, man, I
In the
can
70s.
He was an Airplane.
Yeah, Airplane. Yep,
Airplane.
He was an Airplane.
Yep.
He played the porn star on the plane. He was talking jive.
King of Hill.
It's like, you understand, little old lady? You understand jive? What happened
They've
to
actually had 5 hosts.
He did a lot of voice acting.
Unsolved Mystery had 5.
Oh yeah, it
hosts.
was Beavis and Butthead. That's what
Yeah, I
it
guess
was.
Dennis Farina was a host at one point.
Beavis and Butthead Do America. That was his voice. For the detective or something.
Oh.
He was the voice. These fucking mosquitoes, man.
Oh, he was the air traffic controller on airplane.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, I do remember him. He was a stud muffin. Dead, right?
All I remember is the pilot being a pedophile. Like, hey Jimmy, you ever see a grown man naked?
Yeah, I like. Mac, this is way before you. You ever see Airplane? The movie Airplane?
I sounds very familiar. I'm sure it's
It's a classic. It came out like 1977.
I watched it. I watched it with my nephew during the current quarantine. He's gonna be 19 next month, and he goes, "That was the dumbest, most stupidest,
Oh yeah, I have seen that.
best movie I've ever seen in my life."
We watched it in 9th grade. I remember, like right before Christmas vacation, we're sitting there, and that scene where the chick comes up and she's jumping up and down with her top off and her boobs are hanging everywhere, and everyone in class is like, "Oh my god!" And the teacher's like, "Yeah, this is the unedited version."
Love the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar scene
Yeah.
where he's criticizing.
Yeah.
I bust my ass up and down that floor every night. You tell your dad.
Hey, are you Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? No, kid.
No.
My name's Will. It's like, you look like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It's like, yeah. The
That
autopilot
old
and the blow-up
lady.
dolls pop
That
up.
old lady walks up and talks jive. It's just so funny.
That's great.
Sure,
You know,
I'm
you
sure
had
the
Liam
Gen
Neeson
Z
in
is gonna jump on that next.
So here's the thing, we'll get into it next.
oh,
I want to talk about some of the racist stuff that's like that's supposedly racist, but maybe it's not, maybe it isn't. And I posted something the other day about the Black Jeopardy skit from Saturday Night Live, where Tom Hanks plays this like honky that doesn't understand any of the black stuff. Now, to me, I think it's funny. I don't think it's racist at all. I think it's kind of ironic because, like, yeah, that's probably the real life true story of some guy from down south who has no idea.
Oh,
what
yeah,
what's
I went to
up.
the army with one.
But
Kid.
if you reversed it and you had White Jeopardy, and you had like
Every Jeopardy's white
LeBron,
Jeopardy.
LeBron James on, and he couldn't understand stuff because he didn't finish high school, would that be racist?
I mean, this topic right now, I'm feeling is borderline racist.
I'm just
Ryan,
saying. Just,
I mean, it's how you do it. I think like you're meeting some everything. It's like it could be racist, but it's like how you do it.
Yeah.
Like, it's all presented.
Yeah, that particular description would have been a racist example. I'm sure there were non-racist examples of White Jeopardy that we could think of.
Wait, is it racist when we get back?
Yes. All right, guys. So if you're watching on Facebook right now, we are going to take a small break from our. I'm going to have a commercial from our sponsors. Our sponsors is Darkness, because we're going to go black real quick on this thing.
Go rub one out. We'll be right back.
Yeah, we're going to.
Charlie Murphy
We're-
sponsoring it.
I
I
mean,
mean,
If you say so.
You're gonna touch yourself. You're just gonna see me and Eric for a second, and we're gonna be back after these messages. So you guys have the links. We'll see you in a second. Bye bye.
That's my photo.
Oh, there you go. See you making fun of us. Shoot, he's taking,
yeah, now I feel like an ass.
you know, he's just having pictures of his daughter. You know,
It was just him though. It was just him in the picture, so I couldn't assume
Yeah.
there was.
I thought it was maybe like a fight because you do act. That was like maybe like a headshot. Like you should see Eric's headshots from when he was acting. He has this really feminine pose where he's like looking this way and he's looking back this way, and he's like, oh,
Do not have one of
It
those.
was like
Does
you
he
don't-
have a rose in his hand?
I do not have that.
no, he had a penis in his hand.
I have
'cause-
one normal headshot.
No, but you have this weird one where you have this grin and you're like grinning like this, but your body's tilted this way and your head's like, it was like your
that's
default picture on Facebook for like the longest time.
No, it was
God.
not. What do you? Yeah, what do you smoke and share it with?
I
me?
gotta see this.
I gotta see this because I have no idea.
That's it. I'll bring it up.
I know there's
after,
a picture of
but-
me and you in
Yes,
suits
please.
doing
You sure
that.
it's not something you photoshopped already?
Yeah.
It's just hilarious.
No.
Sure you
It's
don't
a
get me mixed
pretty
up
good
with someone
Photoshop.
else?
Hold on. It's like I'm gonna bring this up right now because it cracks me up every time I see it because I know you got like
My last two photos. One was the one right now is me in a raft with a beer with a Deadpool mask on in the pool.
This is like
and then the
grown-ups.
one after that is me walking into the strip club after Game 7. He's
No,
got
this
a nice
is-
perfect picture of me.
This is grown-ups 2 territory.
I like the Pretty Woman one that you did, Arty, with Eric and what's her name? That girl. Remember that one?
What girl was that?
Um,
Dude, yours is the best. I'm pointing at the screen like he's right in front of me. Yours is the best, Adam. The fucking
What the
Burt Reynolds
Lethal
one.
Weapon?
No, the Burt Reynolds one. We
Oh.
put my face on the
yeah.
Burt Reynolds laying on a bearskin
Forgot
rug.
about that one, yeah.
That was awesome.
I feel like this is my first day using Facebook.
I think you said I think that was right before we went to Savannah.
Oh, I gotta find that. All I did was it.
Oh, I still got it. It's in my
Let's
thing.
see. We gotta go deep, like years from now, like years ago. Mac, do you ever see Grown Ups 2?
Yeah,
Eric was in the movie.
I think I've seen all of them.
He was in it multiple times.
Really?
You know the big fight scene?
Oh boy.
I mean, not in particular.
Eric knows the timestamp.
It's the whole movie. It's the whole movie.
Hour one.
This one right here. This picture right here.
Yeah, that's a normal headshot.
I don't know if you guys can see it.
That's a normal headshot.
So Mac, if you've seen Grown Ups 2, you might recognize this guy right here.
That's my still from Grown Ups 2. Look at next time you watch it when just look at during the whole potty scene. Just look at the right side of the screen. You'll see the black jacket in numerous places. I'm right behind. I'm right in the camera fighting this kid. And I'm so close they had to put the sound effects in when he hit me. It was pretty cool.
Ryan was in Grown Ups 2 too. Do you remember him?
Were you?
No,
I don't tell by his laugh he wasn't. It was fun. It was the funnest 3 weeks I've ever had. One big party, big tent.
How much sex did you have?
Nice.
I mean, actually, that was all the sex happened on Clear History.
So that's where he met #1 fan of the show, Adam, our friend Kayla, with her last name begins with an A.
I didn't meet her there. I already knew her.
Oh, I thought you met her on the. Was she on the movie set?
No, she used to be on the show before us at Unregular.
She was never on our show.
No, she was the show, The Big Sauce.
Oh, she was?
Yes, that's where we met her.
Oh, she's a bitch. Well, she wasn't a bitch. She still is a bitch. She's the past tense when
Toned down quite a bit in her Twitter, unfortunately, but yeah.
So, Ryan and Mac, we have this lady who does not like the show for years.
Again,
ago.
I got they were doing all this shit to her one night, and I'm sitting there trying to have dinner with my friends, and she's blowing me up on Messenger.
She's not a nice girl.
She's like, "You're doing this, dude." I'm like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." And she's like, "Your name's on there." I go, "Yeah, and there's another name on there." So email that fucking
She
kid.
sent a
unfriended me on everything when it was these two jagoffs.
Would she send a cease and desist order to me?
You kept posting her
she
pictures.
sent a cease and desist order from a lawyer's office.
Well, here's the thing.
Like you?
Well, I wanted to debate her. That was when we were still in.
Yeah,
she's still in Cambridge.
She's
remember?
a very.
I wanted to debate her because of her fucking.
She hates
craziness.
white people.
She's a white girl from
Hates
probably
them.
Swampscott, and she hates white people. And she is every time you come up with her, she has like these radical ideas, right? So you would approach her and be like, "Well, why?" You just ask her why. Like, why do you think? Like, she's saying like the sky is really purple. And you go, all right, well, why do you think the sky's really purple? And then I'm reporting you to Facebook, blah, blah, blah. You're a racist. And then she'd go off like crazy. So the irony of it, she's banned from Facebook. So they shut her account down. She only has a Twitter, but that gets shut down occasionally.
She's still on Instagram. I see her on
She's
Instagram.
on the gram.
Too, yeah.
So she was very feminist about women like being, exposing themselves and taking pictures.
And then she shows pictures.
And then she posts naked pictures of her on.
The camera stops right at the mound, right before you get to see the.
So she calls it odd
stuff.
They call me odd. So if I want to pose with my bush out, then I can. Too,
whenever something she would post, she'd bitch and moan about a guy or a person, and she'd be like, "White people, am I right?"
She's
going on the time, and so one day she's bitching about her father. She's like, "My dad, blah blah blah." And I just commented, I go, "White guys, am I right?" And that's when I got blocked.
Adam summed her up perfectly, right? You said that she was like this chick that must have done wrong. So she has daddy issues. We tapped that one right off the bat. Like,
she must.
Like, this girl does not get along with her father, because if I was this girl's father, I'd be like,
she must not,
girl,
because
what's wrong with you?
I remember a post where they were watching the Patriots game, and she was commenting on a player, how he was hot, blah blah blah, and she said her dad was uncomfortable because he was black. So maybe that's what it is.
Her dad's black?
No, the football player.
She's
gushing
very,
over
very white.
No, she's gushing over.
That can't be her real dad.
No, she was gushing over. I want to say Sony Michelle. I think it's Sony Michelle. No, it's probably not Sony Michelle. It's somebody. Whoever the running back was before Sony Michelle.
Curtis Martin.
No, it was fucking
Dave Meggett.
22. 22. Who was it? Who what? Not. All right, before LeBlanc.
The idiot that just runs into tackles.
Yeah, before he looks like he looks like the nerd on the schoolyard.
Got to kick us out of our seats at the Celtics.
No, that's way back. Why he was supposed to be? Wasn't it Georgia? Where was he from? Look it up, man. I forget his name. Number 22.
Dave Meggett.
No.
Smith. Antoine Smith.
No.
He's around 22.
When you say it, I'm going to be like, yeah, it's like an S or something, isn't it?
Sequoia McCoy. Sony Michelle.
Ben Jarvis Green Ellis.
Like,
I know all these other running backs, but I just can't remember this one.
Right, Brandon Bolden.
Nope.
It's not Burkhead, not James White, not Damian Harris.
Nope.
This is going to be a fun game. We're just going to go. The Patriots had about 50
I know,
running
right?
backs in the last 20 years.
Just change this. I'll find it.
Do you know my aunt? Do you guys know Dave Meggett? Are you familiar with Dave Meggett?
He's the one who got knocked out in not Meggett, but the running back was the one who got knocked out in the Ravens game. Stephen Ridley. It was him.
Yeah, I hate him. He sucks. He runs into tackles. He just falls into
Yeah,
them.
but that's what she was like questioning that he was so hot, and her father was upset. So I think maybe that's what it is.
So
It's real creepy seeing you on the phone with me.
I don't know, why am I on your phone? I feel like I should be naked every time I look at you. Is that it?
That was weird.
what was that?
I don't know what that was. I'm just gonna pretend like it was never said.
He's just
I'm
gonna
not
make sure.
judging, but,
Arty says some weird shit. I'm shocked he hasn't told you we slept naked together when
We
we
did.
didn't. We had pillows and blankets and fully clothed between us.
Just want to give a heads up to Alex Wallace, #1 fan of the show, watching. He is live watching us from Weston, Mass. Yeah, me and Eric did sleep naked
Wasn't
together.
that he's lying?
I get it was
spoon.
it was a January night, Monday to be exact. It was a
Stay warm.
maybe a
right?
Tuesday. We went to a Bruins game together, and we got
It's
very,
actually like it's a fucking date.
we got very drunk, and then we went to the greatest bar, and
Party with the
Dropkick
Dropkick
Murphys were
Murphys?
upstairs with Heidi Watley from the Red Sox.
Watney.
Watney, what the fuck her name is.
That's Jody Watley.
So he knew a guy who knew the guy who knows Dropkicks to let us upstairs.
I knew the guy who knew dropkicks.
That's what I said.
You said you knew a guy who knew a guy.
I knew the guy that knew the guy.
Oh,
meaning
okay,
you.
all right.
So we got upstairs to where the Dropkicks were, and the party was kind of rumming down. So Heidi Watley was sitting
Watney.
there. Watney. And someone bought her a drink. She took one sip of it, so I took a sip after she left it there.
After I took a sip.
Yeah, so we kind of kissed Heidi Watley that night.
She took a sip. He goes, I bet
So
you
that
won't
means
drink. He goes, I bet you won't drink that.
She's the one that married Will Middlebrooks.
No, she was the one
No,
fucking
that's
around.
Jenny Bell.
She was the one fucking
Jenny
around
Bell.
Veritech.
They all look alike.
So,
Heidi Watley's on MLB. I seen her the other day. She's on MLB Network now.
so we
She has no ass. I was very upset about that. Very upset about that.
it's
Flat ass.
disappointing.
just get right in play. I don't like a girl with a flat ass. You know, I need something to grab onto. You know, like bicycle
Exactly.
spokes, if you will.
I agree.
So after we left the greatest bar, very intoxicated, we met up with Eric's future girlfriend at the time and her friend. And
My friend, our friend.
Our friend. So we went to a bar, and then her Asian friend, her
No,
Hawaiian
Hawaiian.
friend. And long story short, me and Eric and 3 girls went back to their apartment in Malden, Massachusetts. Oh, yeah. And as we were getting to the apartment, a blizzard rolled in, dropping about
The blizzard already
foot
was
of-
there while we were in the
Well,
in
yeah.
the game.
I mean, there was about 1.5 feet of snow the next morning. But we were trapped in the house, and me and Eric took our clothes off and put it this way.
Back up.
The pull-out
back up.
couch.
He was he
The pull-out was the pull-out couch was the only thing that
on my
pulled out that
game.
night.
he had everything
And the
correct
blanket.
until that part.
Yeah.
Thought about me making out with my future girlfriend on the thing, trying to go upstairs with her. She said, "No, you sleep on the couch with him."
He whispered
And she
in my
gave us
ear.
like
That's horrible.
she gave us like 50 pillows.
He whispered in my ear. This couch is
That's
the only
horrible. You
thing
spent
pulling
the
out
night
tonight.
The Hawaiian
With
one.
3 women.
I could have banged her.
You spent
so
the
many
night with
times.
3 women,
Yeah.
and yet you guys had to sleep together.
Hey,
That's horrible.
I played the slow play. You know, I ended up banging the one 2 months later.
Naked. He whispered in my ear, "This couch is the only thing pulling out tonight."
Oh,
That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. That didn't happen, but that's pretty funny.
And I said, "All right."
Well,
man
well,
up."
then if all that happened, then I must have really fucked him up because when I left him, he was in the fetal position on his bathroom floor.
Oh,
So-
that day is my number 2 hangover of all time. I mean, I drank everything. I mean, I think I drank gasoline. Like, and how irresponsible I was. It was 3:00 in the morning. One of the girls wanted to go to the store to get
It's
cigarettes.
Blizzard. You can't die. There's nothing gonna happen.
And she must have hit about 19 snow. We're like on a side street to go to. We literally had to go
Malden.
maybe like a quarter of a mile down the side street in Malden, and we take a left to another side street. She must have hit about 15 snowbanks along the way. Like car was just sliding all over the place. We were only going like 10 miles per hour, and I was like, how is this even possible? You know, I'm gonna lose my man virginity with that Eric tonight,
Right.
and here I am in a car crash at a convenience store. But I was so hungover
it
and
was
so
like I was
sick.
put in prison.
I literally got home to my apartment probably.
Remember, you left your phone at home too.
Oh, I didn't even have my phone. So my my lady friend at the time had no way to get in contact with me for multiple hours, which in retrospect was probably a blessing in disguise, since that didn't work out very well. So, but yes, I was literally on the floor till 9 in the morning. I managed to get to bed around dinner time. And I had thrown up so much that I thought I was borderline dead.
I think I went out drinking again.
Yeah, it was tough.
Borderline dead.
Yeah, it was my number 1 hangover all time was my first time in Montreal when I was in 2003. We went up there for a little trip, and I literally was drinking Goldschlager out of the bottle like it was a fine wine. And I paid for that
Right.
when I threw up in the glass elevator and splattered puke all over in a very nice Sheraton hotel we were staying at.
My number 1 was New York City. Fucking laying in the fetal position in Penn Station, were told to get up twice or I was getting arrested.
So in the
Fetal position the whole train ride home.
Fetal
Fetal
position
position when I got
seems pretty
home. Fetal
popular
position
today.
till the next day.
yeah,
I was fucking hurting.
was that the WrestleMania?
No, that was
concert, right?
Yeah, Metallica. Madison Square Garden.
Metallica.
Yeah.
This was worse. I thought this was bad.
Oh,
though.
yeah.
That was
Wow.
Great.
Holy
Do
shit.
you guys know what that picture is?
They don't.
No.
I'm going to tell you.
I'm so glad I tapped out that day that I did not go to that.
So one night,
I have a similar picture.
so one night after the radio show, me and Eric decided we're going to meet these girls from Tinder at a bar in Boston.
Let's change that back. He was meeting
I
a
was
girl
meeting
from Tinder,
and
and
she
I
had
was
a
tagging
friend.
along.
Now this is before my wife. This is between the transition from the flight attendant to my wife. That little gray, it was like December of or January of 2016. So we go meet these girls and we're drinking with them. So we're trying to get back to their apartment. So they invite. So she's like, she's like, I can't go back to the apartment because it's messy.
I figured it was girl, blah blah. We're in Hub Pub and where the bathrooms are in Hub Pub. Ryan, you ever been to Hub Pub? No, you go downstairs. A very very old building, Boston. You go downstairs, and she's wanted me to do it right there in the kegs, and I was like, no, I can't let anybody maybe catch me doing you because you look like a man.
She looked like Kathleen
She
Turner.
looked like Kathleen Turner now. maybe like Friends Kathleen Turner.
Yeah, she looked like Chandler's father.
Yeah, so she's like, my place is a mess. I'm like, everybody's place is a mess. So I figured just a typical girl mess.
Yeah.
Damn, that was
This
fucking...
apartment was about a 700 square foot apartment in the back on Beacon Hill, right? So the rent's probably like $3,000 a month for this little place, right? When we opened the door, she had to use great force to push the garbage that was behind
And I couldn't shut the bathroom door.
Close that. Yeah, you couldn't close the bathroom door. You couldn't close her bedroom door. Every cabinet door was open. There was cats everywhere. It smelled like
dog shit,
smelled
cat
terrible.
shit.
She had like 4 hula hoops, which we couldn't figure out why.
4
Adam,
trash
you
cans
got the
with no
picture brought
trash
up.
in it.
So, tell me some of the other stuff in this picture that you observed over the time.
Oh, okay. Oh, gladly. Let's see.
The best is a How I Met
We
Your Mother.
got, for some reason, there's a lot of Powerade bottles.
Yep.
I don't know why. There's like 5 of them. We got some Starbucks, some plastic cups, about 6 bottles of seltzer water. Oh, there's like 7 Powerade bottles. Sorry. How many trash barrels that are full? 1,
Not
2.
full. They're empty.
No, they were empty. The trash barrels were empty. There was nothing in them.
No, there's a lot of paper towels too, just sitting around. Oh, there's like 3 fans, like it's a fucking meth lab.
It was
Wait,
like
so
January.
She wasn't a hoarder. She just ate a lot.
She was a mess.
It was a cold January night too.
She was a big girl too. No offense to big girls, but I mean she was.
She wasn't big. No, she wasn't.
She
I
was.
remember freaking Eric out the next day because I kept sending you pictures of lice and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, he was itching all day.
Well, that's just,
Yeah.
that was just the
Yeah,
placebo.
I
That was
can
placebo effect.
The best was there was a hole over the couch, which definitely was her head going through the wall. Like she had fallen and put her head through because it was a perfect head size hole in the plaster.
Yeah.
My favorite though is there's a giant ashtray in the shape of a heart.
That's
Blunt wraps all over the place. Ashes all over the place.
I mean, to get romantic in that place.
How I Met Your
really-
Mother on the TV.
really took like your mind to go to another level. You know what I mean? It
But
was
you
like
definitely don't want to light a candle.
There's no fucking
in that.
romance in there. You just pull it up pile drive.
it was literally like you have to. I equivalent to being a pitcher in the 9th inning during the Game 7 of the World Series, and you have runners in scoring position, and you need one more out. Like that is the mental mind you have to get into to be able to do anything to perform in this manner. Because if you can't, if you look to your left, you look to your right, you're gonna see a cat pissing on a pile of new groceries. And or if you look to your left, you're going to see a hole in the wall and a bunch of hula hoops. I'm not quite sure why there were so many hula hoops. That is the thing that
I do
disturbs me
see
the
a hula
most.
hoop.
There were so many hula hoops. You couldn't even see her bed. There was so much stuff on the bed. Like, it was very disturbing. It was very, like, I almost felt like after I left, I really should call the inspection service department of the city of Boston and be like, I think you may want to check this place up. Because I fear for the people that live around her at this point. It could be very dangerous. Adam, I wish you came.
I'm glad you offered, and
No,
I'm
he
glad
would
I
have.
bowed out.
Well, neither one of us would have gotten any, and we all probably would have even went in there because he would have opened his mouth the second we walked in, and she would have kicked us out.
Me, you, and Adam would have teamed up on Kathleen Turner for the story for next week's show. That's what would have happened. We would have high-fived each other. Because you get the Eiffel Tower, but when you have 3, it's more like an oil derrick. You know what I mean? With a pumping some oil, right, Mac? It's curious young
a
kid on
fun
the show.
metaphor.
It's like, you have here's the thing. We've already been through the tunnel, and we're kind of like, he's just entering the tunnel, and there's so much space between the four of us and him. Mac. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much you have to learn that you haven't experienced yet.
That makes sense.
And when you do, you're just gonna be like, wow, that's what it's like.
They had to go through that.
Some of it you will enjoy. Some of it you won't tell anyone. Some of it,
I'm okay with that.
There's
That's life.
There's some stuff you take to your grave. I feel like I'm very open. I feel like there's maybe like 2% of my life that I will take to the grave. But for the most part, I don't know. I think you guys heard
That's a big percent.
2%?
Yeah, I mean, if you get to 100, that's 2 whole years
That's about right.
that you just won't. And then 33 of them, or what percentage of years do you sleep? Like 33%?
Well, that includes some of my dreams that I'm not going to share with people.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fair then.
I can't think of anything like that at least one person doesn't know.
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Like at least one I mean, I'm trying to think if there's really anything. I don't think there is that I can think of for me.
What are we talking
At
about?
least
Sorry.
one-
Yeah,
to-
you got to be right though. Yeah, I guess you're probably right. There's probably at least it's tough that at least one person doesn't know, because like this like stupid shit you've done or said, and like at least one person was there to observe the carnage of it. You know what I mean?
Or it's like you just
Right.
gotta tell somebody. You're just like I gotta fucking tell someone.
Yeah.
That happens.
Like you go to the movies and you shit your pants. Something you probably should keep to yourself. But
Yeah, but everyone in the movie theater probably knew. Like,
Yeah.
that was...
That's true. That's true.
a
You just
bad
didn't know
guy.
that they knew.
and everyone who used the bathroom after you. And they see your dirty... Like, when I was in spring break 2003 and I shit myself at a Shoney's in Virginia, and I just decided that, hey, you know what?
Shoney's.
I'm just going to hang my drawers up on the back of the stall door, and I'm going to tell my friends they should go into the bathroom and check something cool out.
Oh. That's
Then I had to drive all the way... And my luggage was buried in the back of the Jeep, and I couldn't get a fresh pair of drawers out, so... I drove all the way from Virginia to Massachusetts with no underwear on, rubbing my raw ass against the shorts I was wearing in March, which was probably a good idea to wear shorts in March in Massachusetts. But, I mean, that goes beyond my common sense and anything I did that was rational during that trip, or any trip for that matter. So, when you really put something up, like, that was just the beginning of, I figured that was going to happen, There's plenty of stories. I mean, we could go in for hours, me and Eric, about, especially just Vegas 2008 by itself is a whole nother story.
if I remember any of this.
Oh, I remember everything.
I remember it all.
I remember.
I remember some parts of. I was so freaking drunk. I can't believe I remember getting from that swingers club to the hotel
we
the
went
second night.
we went to a swingers club in Vegas together called the Hush Club.
Fucking cabbie tried to sell me cocaine. I'm like, yeah.
So the great thing about the swingers club was $50 to get in for the weekend, right? But it was bring your own booze. So you paid $50.
You gotta pay to get your beer because you get tip the guy.
Yeah, you tip the girl, but you go to the liquor store that's conveniently around the corner and you buy your own booze and you bring it in, you sit there and you get to watch couples have sex and possibly be asked to join them. I mean, that's basically
I'm
it.
sitting in a booth, so you walk in and it's just rooms. And then you open the bar, and then you got the stage with a stripper pole.
Strange, yeah.
And then you got the seat. There's supposed to be I don't know what
There's
they
like
call it.
these bar stools, but like there was like
But
the
there's
aquarium.
two booths.
You're looking into like
And
the
there was-
tiger's cage.
high tops, and there was all plexiglass. This good-looking girl goes in with her boyfriend or whatever, and he fucking takes a stool, literally puts it in front of the glass like he's at the fucking aquarium, and just watching. And I'm in the booth. I'm just look up, and I'm like, man, you're a fucking creep. You're a fucking creep. And I'm looking, I'm there, so I'm gonna look. Sometimes I'm gonna stare, and like he perfectly was positioned so a fan blocked them. You could just see them moving. But you couldn't see anything. It's so after my second 40 ounce, I'm fucking right next to him, looking my face up on the glass. Fucking
Yeah.
crazy. It was great. And then I got a hand job from a pregnant hooker.
There you go. And paid her with paid her with casino chips.
Persistent. And then another girl who comes over, she's like, did she really get that? And she's like, why didn't you have me then? I go, persistence pays off, baby.
The expression on Ryan and Mac's face right now is absolutely priceless.
But the funny thing is,
I'm thinking about if this person was pregnant, does that mean the baby also gave you a hand?
No.
Yes, it was his first threesome.
But no.
Was there nobody else around?
Wouldn't be the first.
Like, it had
No,
to be
I
the
was
pregnant
just
chick?
drunk, and she.
That's what I was thinking about.
And I didn't think I was joking and said all I have is $60 in chips because my check hadn't cleared. We had just got there and I put a $1,400
I'm
check.
not judging, man. If you're into pregnant women jerking you off,
I'm not, but I'm shit faced I'm shit faced when I say all I got is $60 poker chips. If you take that, yeah, you'll give me a hand job. She's like, all right. So I'm sitting in a booth and I'm drinking my beer, and in come the Metro Police, and she's like, oh, the police here, put it away. So I go to put my dick away, and she's like, no, the beer, and I'm like, what the fuck? I am confused.
They didn't have a liquor license there, so you weren't really supposed to have alcohol, but like, you know, it was kind of one of those things. The Metro Police would pop in every once in a while just to make sure things were going straight, you know. But yeah, that place closed down. But there's several others in the city if you need to go to, but that one in particular, I remember the first night I went to that place. It was a year. It was.
He couldn't wait to get there. He was like speed walking when we got out of the cab.
So me and him went in November. The first time I went there was in June of the same year, like 6 months earlier, by mistake. So I'm in Vegas with my family, and it's like I'm just wandering around. I'm hammered, and like I come across which I thought was a strip club. So I walk by, and there was this lady standing out front, and she's like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Hey," and she's like, "You want to come in?" And I'm like, "Sure." I'm like. So I come in with her, like, all right. And she's showing me around. She's showing me the sex rooms, the dungeon, the, you know, all the stuff that's in there, you know. And I was like, oh, it's a strip club? And she's like, no, it's a swingers club. And I'm like, what's that? And she goes ahead and tells me. She's like, oh, she's like, for $50, you get a weekend pass. I'll come and go for the next 3 days. I'm like, I'm in Vegas for the next 3 days. So she's like, yeah, you bring your own booze. I'm like, this is great. I can go and just hang and chill with people. And there's tons of people there. There's pool tables. You know, there was TVs and, you know, stuff like that. So I was like, all right, I'm cool. So I went to the liquor store, got some beers, went over there, hung out with her. And then I would go and do the bar thing all day. Like, or at night, I'd do the family thing. I went to, like, the Hoover Dam and stuff like that and sing, like, Cirque du Soleil. And then, like, at, 11 o'clock, I go to my parents. I'll see you guys in the hotel room. I'm going to go adventure. So I bar hop a little bit. And, you know, next thing you know, I was at Hush Club. So fast forward 5 months. I was telling Eric about it for the entire 5 months. From, like, July to, like, October, I'm like, this place, you got to check it out. So he's like, all right. So as soon as we landed, we got to the hotel, and we were, like, cutting through. We made a mad dash there the first night to check this place out. And it was a go-to place. But it was funny because we went there, and then they closed down, like, 6 months later, I guess. So yeah, we had
that seems like the kind of place that wouldn't last.
It was a flyby. Like, so let me describe the strip mall to you.
Not a staple of the community.
No, so it was a strip mall. So at the end of the strip mall, there was a strip club. Next to the strip club was a liquor store. Next to the liquor store was a store where strippers buy their clothes. And next to that was the Hush Club. Next to that was a massage parlor. And next to that was like a maternity store. Like this was,
and that place still had nothing. Oh, it wasn't you with me, Baltimore. Forget it. It wasn't you.
This was the strip. This was the mini mall that the strip club was at. I mean, that tells you right there. Like this is a strip mall that was like destined to not be a place to take your family. You know, what
and
I
then
mean?
like in the middle of nowhere, it looks like it's so creepy looking.
It was a street off of Las Vegas Boulevard. So it was like Industrial Avenue, I think it was called. It was literally like
the only thing lit up was the strip mall.
Yeah.
Maybe a street light like 50, feet in the
And I've probably been to Vegas probably 10 times after that time we went there, and I haven't been on that street, and there's probably a good reason why. Because it's probably I mean, I walked some I walked from old Vegas to New Vegas once, like this same trip, which is the most dangerous walk one could ever do. It is about 1.5 miles of gang violence, nonstop, and like they suggest that tourists take the bus. And I was like, oh, it's a beautiful night. It was like 80 degrees out. And I popped into a bunch of like, wedding chapels and strip clubs along the way to check them out and everything, And it was great. And OJ was there at the time. OJ was being on trial at the courthouse. So the whole trial thing was going on. So people were hanging outside the courthouse and everything, So it was something cool. And then I get back from vacation. He goes, where'd you walk? And he's like, I just seen Gangland the other night. And it was like basically the same road I was hanging out on. So I could have died. I mean, we couldn't have been having this podcast.
It's like when I did my walk through New Orleans gang area.
I would have never met Adam on Craigslist in the Casual Encounters ad. He answered very nicely.
At least mine was broad daylight in New Orleans.
That's true.
Yeah.
Have you guys?
Daylight's always safer.
Well, not necessarily. Have you guys ever been to New Orleans? Other than you, Adam, I know you've been there.
I have, yeah. I've been.
So I
live in Biloxi, Mississippi, which wasn't far.
Oh yeah.
But very impoverished area. I auditioned for 12 Years a Slave, and stuff and everything, like the movie and stuff and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I went there, and they told me and stuff and everything I looked like too much like Chiwetel Ejiofor. But if anything happened to Chiwetel Ejiofor, Yeah.
That's like a good thing and a bad thing. You're like, oh, you're like, well, how do I get this guy killed?
Well, I mean, can
You
I
know,
be his
like,
double? Can I
know,
be his stand-in?
stand-in, stunt double, you know? But you know how, like, in New Orleans, like, you go to, like, one street, it's nice. Then you go, like, 2 streets over, and it's bad. But then you go to the street after that, it's nice. There's no neighborhoods. There's, like, streets that are issues there. So, we were staying at, like, we were staying up in the
By the museum.
City Park, like I think it was mid-city.
Museum?
Yeah, near the museum and stuff like that, right? So everything was, like, nice. But if you go, like, too many streets down in the wrong direction, you get, like, some, like, ghetto-ass shit. Like,
Well, they all left, and I would talk Church's Chicken the whole weekend. I love Church's Chicken. When I was stationed in the South, I went to it all the time. So I found one. It was a mile away. I'm like, all right, I could walk some of this hangover off. So I'm walking, I'm going, and I'm just getting a little shadier, and it was just like, okay. And then I'm walking down, and it tells me to go down this road, take a right, and I look down, and it's just like, it just looks like a scene from Menace to Society, like just low bikes, people running around, just people everywhere, just partying. I could hear all the parties and stuff, and I'm like, I'm gonna go the long way. I'm gonna walk. Took a right down there. There was a football game going on, and I was definitely in the wrong neighborhood.
me and my wife are at the airport, and he's texting
Definitely
us,
in the wrong neighborhood.
and he's telling the streets she's going. So my wife lived in New Orleans for like four years, so she knows the area pretty well where we were staying at. And she's like, "Yeah, that's a bad area. Eric's probably gonna die."
And I go when I walk into churches, there's 2 gang members on the corner, and people are like, "Why are they gaming me?" I'm like, "Because I know what a gangbanger looks like. I know, they're both dressed the same. They got their brad."
They actually said to him, "Hi, Mr. Guy who doesn't seem to be right in this neighborhood. I am a gang member, and if you continue on this path, trouble will arise."
I went into Church's Chicken. Now, I shit you not, you can't. It's like going into a Dunkin' Donuts like
In
that you
South
can't
Boston?
sit in. Yeah, it's just there's nothing. It's just the kitchen. You can't sit. The thing is about like 10 feet in between this bulletproof glass. I'm ordering chicken. I'm just like, I'm Ubering back to this fucking place. So I Uber back, and I get picked up by a guy who looked like he could have been in a gang. He's all tatted up and chains and gold teeth. And I was just like, I couldn't understand a word he was saying. And I was just like, I'm destined to die here. I walked through gangland. And then I went back to the hotel, poked in the gang areas, and I literally was in like a blue patch of like, could have been like a small town. It's just all blue. It was some Crip gang, and the only thing that wasn't blue was the state highway that went in between it because they can't own the state highway.
Did he make you nervous?
I mean, after I seen that, I was like, "Jesus!" And I'm walking around with a freaking Boston Red Sox hat on,
I mean, you stuck out. I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like an undertone. Like you were probably a targeted person.
I mean, maybe.
Luckily, you were out of money by that point, so you were like,
No, I actually wasn't. Maybe maybe staying on the main road was the smartest thing to do. Because if I went down that, because it would have took me like 15 more minutes to get there. Where if I went down that road, I probably would have been there in 5 minutes. Well, probably never would have made it. But
one thing that sticks out in my head the most about New Orleans is when we're all sitting there trying to have a nice dinner at a restaurant, and Eric and Susie are arguing over I think it was like college football.
No,
it
was Susie's friend.
Susie's friend.
Oh yeah, well, it was like loud, and we're all trying to have a nice meal, and like all these people are like
You're
looking
in
at
fucking
us
New
in the
Orleans on
restaurant.
Bourbon Street. Come on.
No, we weren't on Bourbon Street. We were on Royal Street, which is the nice street, and you guys were bringing the bourbon mentality to Royal Street, which is more of the nicer, classy area.
Royal Street is boring.
Well, we were just having a delightful dinner at a really nice restaurant.
Nice meal.
And you and Amy had to go off on college football.
Amy had to go off. I was just
and how
defending.
much you hate college football and all this stuff, and you were offending her, And I think there was a lot of sexual aggression because you guys previously had a relationship, and I think there was a little tension there from a few months later that was really causing the
She
argument.
was
A few months
starting
later,
to
it was like 2
Joey.
years.
She was kind of like
like
talking
2
to Joey,
years.
I remember.
Yeah, I think so. I think she
And then
had-
she tried to sit. I thought she was going to tell Mandy. I was like, Mandy, I'll give you my room. Jesus Christ, I'll sleep on the couch for that.
What, you gonna watch?
No, the couch in his room.
He was gonna sit there with like a fine bourbon, sip in the corner, and go.
Giving him instructions. No, do it this way, Matthew.
We talked about that last week. No, we didn't talk about that last week. Maybe we'll talk about it in the second segment since we're gonna have our friend Ryan Hoosby joining us at the next third.
Yeah, he's ready. He's ready. Skippy Jessup and stuff and everything. So
All right.
he's
What we
looking
doing?
forward to talking to you guys and stuff and everything. He's a great guy and stuff and everything. I met him at Wise Guys Comedy in Salt Lake City and stuff at this comedy festival, and he's really cool. And stuff and everything. He was telling me like these he's been on Celebrity Name Game and this dating show and stuff and everything on MTV. Like, great guy, man.
Cool. So, yeah, we're going to be joining us. Oh, actually, we get the one, and the one just came up. So, all right, cool. All right, so, Ryan, when you get in contact with him, tell him to join the third link. Mac, you going to join us for the last segment of the show?
Yeah, I can do that.
Hell yeah. All right, so, guys on Facebook, stand by. We will be going to another, break. And we'll be joining Skippy Jessup after these messages for the last third of the show. All right, guys, see you in a bit. All right.
Some water. What's that?
There's Skippy right there, all the way from Salt Lake
Utah.
City, Utah.
Near Salt Lake, like 30 miles away.
Okay. And how's the weather out there in Utah?
So how's balls?
What are we, like 90 degrees or something like that?
Yeah, it's about that
Okay.
right now.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
It's a dry heat,
How
though,
about
right?
you guys? Where are you guys at right now? You're on the East Coast, right?
So Eric and I, Adam and Ryan, we're up in Massachusetts. Mac, to your upper left,
Wow.
is in New York City. And,
Cool.
so we're many moons away, if you will, from
I feel like it's only like 85 something here.
Yeah, it's about 80. It's about the same here, and
It's about 85 outside, about 110 in here.
yeah, it's about 110 in the studio right here. So we get no ventilation whatsoever. It's very toasty.
Well, as they say in Utah, it's a dry heat, so
I was gonna say,
I
yeah.
guess it's
Oh, it's
different.
not here. Yeah,
And this room is dry.
we're getting
but
crazy
outside-
thunderstorms and everything. Oh, or I am. I don't know.
We had some earlier.
Utah got a dry heat, but that you can see snow on the mountains while it's like 100 degrees out, right? Is that how it works out there?
Yeah, exactly.
So Skippy, thanks for joining us tonight. We really appreciate having you. 'Cause
Yeah.
Ryan was
Trying to get the lighting right for the thing, so sorry.
you're gonna throw a green screen like you're like in the mountains of Utah.
No, I don't have I don't have that kind of technology. I'm just trying to make it look not hideous, you know?
So you don't want like Adam sitting on a toilet right now.
Adam does the
Is that right?
Jesus Christ.
Adam looks like he's on the commode.
Commode.
Mode.
Adam, I haven't seen this angle before. What is that artwork to your upper right?
That you're
That's
trying.
a picture I took in Africa. It's actually
You're being like the sportscasters when they interview them at home in their office and they
Yeah.
make sure they get it in there. It's cool.
Is that like wildlife? Just like,
yeah, I took that when I was in Africa. Oh no, safari. Yeah,
oh wow, that's pretty cool.
I was gonna submit that photo. That photo is like one of the best pictures I've ever taken in my life. It's a great picture.
Well, as the writer has to be framed.
It was
has to be
luck.
pictured.
It was like blind luck. I'll have to show it to you. It's just like perfectly lined up with the zebra looking like right at the camera. It's
Oh,
awesome.
very neat.
Nice. Did you say to the zebra, "Hey, listen, I like your stripes"?
It's exactly what I said, Arty. You hit the nail right on the head.
Listen, hey. All right. Skippy, I just want to give you a disclaimer. We are live on Facebook, so just in case you want to, start confessing any like murders or anything like that you've made.
I appreciate you giving me the heads up. I right before you guys let me into the room, I was actually picking my nose. I'm like, oh crap! I had heard from someone that like if you have a camera, right, like you have to like cover it for anything personal.
Yeah.
And I always think of that like when I'm sitting on the toilet of like going, okay, someone technically, if they're tech savvy enough, can be watching what you're doing by, I don't know, like just hacking into your phone and that. And how is I'm like, why do I not have something that covers up both cameras just for, in case I ever am important enough for someone to hack me on the toilet?
So there was a.
I mean, I don't know. Some of the shits I've taken, I wish someone saw them.
Where you going? All right, Eric's tapping out. He's sweating. All right, let's put the headphones in. Hold on one second.
Hey guys, nice to meet you. I'm sorry I didn't get to talk to you, Skip. Maybe next time. It's just a
See you,
song
Bowers.
here. I am out of here.
He's literally like, he has like an ounce of. Oh, these headphones are all sweaty and gross. Like,
Oh,
fuck.
green too behind me.
yeah, shout tonight.
Oh, went away. Never mind.
I'm pretty sure he was gonna have a heart attack. He was like, he looked like a guy coming off like a month of like not drinking right now. So Skippy, you're out in Utah. You have a YouTube page. You go to
I've got a YouTube channel, yeah,
YouTube channel.
15,000 subscribers.
nice. All right,
Cool.
and you go and you interview people, celebrities and stuff at like Sundance and stuff of that nature. Right? Is that?
Yeah, I do that, but the majority of the reason why people tune into my channel is because I'm cringy and awkward, and so I think my channel is one of people feel good about themselves when they see how pathetic I am, kind of thing, right?
Jesus.
Where there's a bit of like I suck at girls, but at least I'm not like that guy. And I think the reason why I'm okay for people to feel that way about is I'm not mentally handicapped, where you don't feel like you're making fun of like the slow kid,
Yeah.
I'm the slow at life kid, and I try and have a good sense of humor about it, but at the same time I know that there's things about me that are just like absolutely like, where sometimes the fact that I had a belly button link collection for years was something that has grossed out more people than I can count. But I always go back to the fact that, like, okay, I didn't murder anyone, right? So we're talking about like horrible. Yeah.
Well,
I'm not as bad as some.
Did you say you have 40,000 subscribers to YouTube?
No, 15,000.
Even 15, still, that's nothing to wave. Wow. That's nothing to wave a stick to. I mean, that's pretty impressive. So if someone wants to make fun of you, like, now, not to get personal or anything, but are you monetized? Were you able to get into the monetizing?
Yeah, what are your hours though? I mean, subscribers mean nothing. You can buy subscribers. I mean, minutes. I mean, how many? What minutes watched do you like? The range around there.
I wish that I knew all that stuff. One of the things I need someone to help me go in and like I need to pay a professional, because when I set up my channel, it was like literally 13, 14 years ago or something like that. And I hadn't connected it to a bank account or whatever. By the time that someone told me about that, when I had used an email address to log in, it was a Hotmail account, right?
Oh,
and I've since lost the password, don't have the phone connected to it or anything like that. And so all of those things that, so I can like log into it using the email, but for recovery things and all the things that, from what I understand, YouTube would need you to verify that you are who you are, and them send you a code to have you like reply back to it. I don't have the stuff needed for that, and so
do you know how much money you're losing?
Yeah, for real.
Because if you said you did your account like 12, 13 years ago, you're grandfathered into the monetization of YouTube from like the past, where the qualifications to start to be monetized is like a lot less than it is now. But you would hit probably, as long as you have the minutes viewed, you would definitely have the subscribers to hit it. So
yeah, I've got like I think I saw one time the problem with the YouTube app on your phone is it doesn't tell you the kind of things that you can find out on a computer. And so when I've been on friends' computers and checked in on YouTube and my stats, I saw like a month or so ago that I have 2.5 million total views on my channel. And I can't remember how many minutes watched it is, but it's like by far enough to qualify me for it. I just need to find someone that is like a legit YouTube idiot savant, or find out if there's any way to pay a person at YouTube, like even if it's like some absorbent amount, like per hour, just like, okay, give me an hour of your time, let's correct this, boom,
Skippy,
and I'll pay you from the money that hopefully is waiting for me and coming to me. We
need to help you. We're gonna use this as a PSA right here for anyone who can figure this out, because this is like equivalent to like having the air conditioner on your house, but your back door is wide open, so you're just blowing it out the back. You're not saving anything. And especially you're such an OG for YouTube, like the qualifications for you to actually be profitable on this network is actually really, really easy for someone to, you know what I mean? You hit all the probably the milestones years ago. So there's no password recovery or changing the email or anything of this nature. And I know Hotmail probably doesn't even exist anymore at this point, right? So it's like,
who knows?
Does it? Yeah.
I connected it to a Gmail account one time. My friend and I tried to, and then we tried to see if we could circumvent it that way. And like the story goes on and gets longer. Like he said, like that we would have to get a bank account number to tie it to.
Yep.
And I didn't have a bank account at the time. So even when we were on there trying to do it and see, and there was a chance I was going to possibly start up another channel, but then my subscribers went from like 5,000 to 8,000 like really quick. I'm like, oh crap, I don't know how to even push everyone from this channel over to another
can't.
one.
You won't be able
I'm
to.
in this really weird spot where I then just started this thing what I call Skippy Squad, where anyone that sends me $5 or more on Venmo, I shout them out in the next video that I do. And that's how I'm on Cameo. All my stuff is at I am Skippy. And so I make cameos for people.
Okay.
I've got to be the most long-winded cameo person there is, because my average cameo that I make is 5 to 10 minutes long.
Oh, that's good. You're getting your money's worth. How much you charge for a cameo?
$10. Yeah,
I'd say you're getting your money's worth. If you're doing a 10-minute cameo at 10 minutes long, you're getting $1 a minute, and that's more than most of these people are paying. Like, you can go,
right.
You know what I mean? We were thinking about getting a cameo to do this show's like intro. You know what I mean? Like, I was gonna get like someone that's like, you know, maybe a $25 cameo. You know, someone that's like kind of like
minutes are king though. You can get paid without even having a lot of subscribers if you have the minutes, because then you can get sponsors and actually be like, hey, I use, you know, whatever the hell it is, and
so Adam, you're a little more advanced on the YouTube technology and statistics as I am. How does this guy get his stuff monetized if he's already grandfathered in at this point, already has the views and the hours? How do we get this guy's life back?
Well, I do know, like, within the options there's a well, first of all, I just want to say, Skippy, it's cool that you embrace your weirdness. I think that's awesome that you just kind of have no shame. I just want to say that I think that's great. I think some people, they're weird and they're kind of awkward about it and like whatever, but I think that you embrace it and you use it to your advantage. I think that's awesome.
Thank you.
But I will say that I think that there's definitely something in your, like, when you, man, we could do probably like an hour and a half just talking about like how you could fix this. But I'm trying to think, like, I mean, in your options, you've scrolled through all your like the options that there are to monetize and like all that stuff, right? This is because there's tons of things in there. I mean, but they seem to change it like every year. I feel like they add new check boxes, they add new, I mean, you're definitely able to monetize your channel. But I mean, it has to go under review. So you have no email recovery in your Hotmail, like.
And even then, this the one that I tried one time, I tried connecting it to another email address, and I mean, this is where it gets into the weeds. Where just the time that I tried connecting it to another email address to see if I could do it, it didn't happen. And so, I mean, the long story short,
to somebody at YouTube. You're gonna have
to. We're gonna help you. We're gonna get this going for you because because the milestone you hit just to be able to get these subscribers and everything it's pretty successful. And then you said that you would like jump from 5 to 8, and it's all because of these interviews you're doing. So I want to hear more about these interviews you're doing with celebrities. So you go to these, you meet with them. So this is your niche, right? This is your thing. This is the channel.
So I think the cringe videos and the dates that I go on, like if you look at
wait, you videotape your dates?
There was a short time when I was doing 2-minute videos when I had this big ginger beard, and I called it like 2 minutes with Skippy. And so on my channel, there's like 150 videos total, but like 20 of them are, 20 to 40 of them are these 2-minute long videos when I had this big red beard and I was working at a pizza place. So of the 150 videos I make, if you were to look at my top 15 videos as far as views wise, the number one video on my channel, I don't own the copyright to, so that one can't be monetized because I was on a show on MTV when I was 24 and they followed me around with cameras. And when I went to college at UVU and I set up my YouTube channel, the very first video that I put up was I got a kid that was advanced in the editing and stuff, and we edited out everything that said MTV on it, everything that everyone else in it that wasn't me, and got it just down to the bare bones, most cringy parts of it. It's I call the video the Citizen Kane of cringe. It is like the OG awesomely awesome cringe video. It's called Skippy in Love, and if you haven't seen it, write it down. Just remember those 3 words, Skippy in Love. Oh, it's train wreck, but in a really great, funny, sad. It's all the emotions.
So this was the show.
Yeah.
So tell us about, how did you get picked for this MTV? So this was an MTV show that you were on, or?
Yeah, they went. It was a show that, like I've said to people a few times, like even just random people, where I'm the most famous, not famous person, possibly in Utah or elsewhere, because I've. If you hear my story, I've come so close to fame, and I've been on like the street, not even quite up to the doorstep of fame. But you would almost be like, oh, well, why aren't you famous? But then you hear the fact that like this reality show was called FM Nation. They went town to town asking, what do you do on a Saturday night in your hometown? They filmed 7 episodes. Only 6 of the 7 aired. We were in an episode that this was back when MTV had not shown a lesbian kiss on MTV yet. Okay. And so our episode happened to air after Real World Vegas, where MTV had their first lesbians in a hot tub kissing scene ever.
That's awesome.
Right? And so because of that, right, it got seen, but then there was no follow-up with our episode because there was just, next week was a totally different town. Okay. So no fame came from that, right? And because it was on MTV in Utah, right, no one cared about it in Utah because it's like, it's not Mormon television. So nothing happened there. And then like the couple of other times I've been on shows like Virgin Diaries, right? It was on TLC. It was in 2012, but it was on during the summers. It aired in July, filmed in April, aired in July. But it was 1 episode, 1 time, and the like shows like Ellen were on hiatus, so we didn't get to be on Ellen. I was supposed to be on The View, but my plane got stranded in Detroit, so I didn't get to go on The View with people to like promote myself, right? I got to be on Dr. Drew, but it was via satellite kind of thing. And there was a chance that I was going to get my own reality show out of that because people thought that I had this great personality. Mine was my cringy belly button lint thing was great, but it wasn't the right time because they were starting to promote Honey Boo Boo like a ton. And so TLC was all Honey Boo Boo all the time. And yes, we had this one show that was kind of fun and funny, but what else was there? There wasn't anything. And then the last 2 things that I would say that my big-ish moments were, I was on, do you guys, you all know who Dave Grohl is, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, John Foo Fighters, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, not everyone does. So sometimes I have to explain. In my mind, he's like one of the gods of rock, right? Because he's in 2 Hall of Fame rock and roll bands, right?
Two of the
Fighters
best,
and Nirvana.
Absolutely, yeah.
He recognized me from some of my videos, and when I met him, I'm like, "Hey, Dave, can I get a photo with you? And would you like a rape whistle?" And he's like, "A rape whistle?" And he goes, "Oh, you're that kid." And I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, you come up to Sundance and meet celebrities, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, how'd you know?" And he's like, "Well, it's great meeting you, Skippy." And I'm
Holy
like,
shit.
It's great for me to meet you because you're Dave Grohl, the god of rock, and I'm Skippy, a kid that lives in his freaking mom's basement.
Dave Grohl knew who you were. That's incredible. That's awesome.
Well, a week. So here's the thing. A week goes by, and I get an email. That says, "Hi, Skippy. My name's Caitlin from the Chelsea Lately Show. As you probably already know because you're a big fan, Dave Grohl is guest hosting all next week and wants you to be a part of one of the episodes. Are you free?" And I thought I was being punked, right? Yeah. I thought it was someone at a Utah radio station that was just, BSing me. I called the number back, NBC Universal Studios. How can I direct your call? I'm like, Chelsea Lately Show, Caitlin. They're like, 1 second. She's like, "Hi, this is Caitlin." I'm like, "Caitlin, my name's Skippy." And she goes, "Skippy, oh, awesome. Thanks for calling us back. Are you free to come out to LA? And I'm at this point like going, well, yeah, I could get off time from work and I could drive out there. It's like only 13 hours. And she's like, "Oh no, we'll get you a car. We'll put you up, blah, blah, blah. Give us like less than 24 hours to get you all the details, but we're going to fly you out here." They fly me out there. I get a hotel room, and so many little things happen that just are mind-blowing and fun that like sometime I could tell you all of the story details. But bottom line, I get on the show and they introduce me. The coolest moment of my entire life, right? The coolest thing that's ever happened to me is that right before they're introducing everyone to bring them out before the show starts, right? And I hear the words, okay, you've seen this comic on this and this and this. Everyone give it up for this person. So they're warming up the audience. And then I was like, wait, when do I go? And they're like, oh, we'll introduce you. And I'm like, how the heck are you guys going to introduce me? Like, here's the fat kid that's going to, the fat virgin kid, Skippy, right? No, they say, okay, guys, coming to the stage next, he's Dave Grohl's really good friend. Everyone give it up for Skippy. And that,
That's
I
awesome.
lost my, can I swear on this?
Yeah, you can swear.
Okay, I lost my shit. I was just like, I could not believe that. And
that's awesome.
And they brought me on because 2/3 of the way through the show, Dave says, I want to read to you from Skippy's website. It says, I get told I look like Philip Seymour Hoffman, Andy Richter, and sometimes Jack Black. And the guest that day, my hand to Oprah, the guest that day was Tenacious D.
Oh,
and
no
Black
kidding.
looks at me and goes, yeah, I can kind of see it. And by the way, before the show, they said, okay, Skippy, no offense, but we know you're long-winded. So here's the thing. No talking out of turn. And when they talk to you, only 7-second answers, right?
Yeah.
Like,
straight and
that's all
sweet,
you get.
yeah.
And so I know if any point I'm going to get to talk, this is my 7 seconds. And so I say to Jack, like, hey, Jack, I met you up at Sundance a few years ago. You were there with Be Kind Rewind. I met you one day, and the next day I saw you and I said, hey, Jack, what's my name? And you said, Slappy. And I'm like, close. And so then Dave says to Jack, so what's your advice for Slappy, the old Mormon virgin? And Jack Black gave me sex advice on Chelsea Lately with Dave Grohl. I mean, coolest thing ever, right? And then the very last thing was that I was on a game show where me and my friend won 20 grand, right? But none of these things that I've just mentioned equaled fame.
So how did you get on all these things? So what was the process? Because obviously these are like 3 total different universes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how did you go on the website? Did you apply for it? Did you send or did they find you? Like, how did that work?
The MTV one, the very first one, I love this. I was at a dance and I overheard this hot girl telling her friends, like, oh, so this casting guy just came up to me and said that I should audition for the show tomorrow. And I literally am like, they're like right here having the conversation. And I'm like here facing the other way, pretending like I'm not listening in, but I'm like listening to when and where to show up.
Okay.
And I then just kind of crashed the thing, right?
Oh, shit.
And I get there and they had people coming in and they had you sit around a table and they were bringing people in like 5 or 6 at a time and saying, okay, so what's the most interesting thing going on in your life right now? And because this is Utah, there is like this young cute couple that were like, oh, we're dating, but he's going to go on his Mormon mission soon. And so we're not sure what to blah, blah, blah. Right. And the next one was this girl that's like, oh, my husband died. And so I'm just kind of like getting out there, which was a good story, but sad. And how many people in other states can relate to having like 4 kids when you're only 23, right? And so I kind of had this feeling that when it got to me, almost anything I said was going to be golden. And it just so happened that so my answer to the question was, well, yesterday I sent a girl a dozen sharpened pencils with a note that said, the pencils are number 2, but you're number 1. Give me a call. And they're like, and what'd she say? And I'm like, she hasn't responded yet. And they're like, okay, Skippy and this person, you guys stick around, the rest of you guys can go.
Oh, wow.
And I made it to the next round of interviews. And that, quick side story about that, my second interview, I get there, they tell me, go sit over there. And there happens to be this really attractive, what I called older at the time, but I now would say she was probably only 34. But when I was 24, I called her an older woman.
Yeah.
I go sit there and she has her arms crossed and I go, hi, is this seat taken? And she's like, no, you can go ahead and sit there. And I start talking to her and kind of flirting with her. And she's like, so what are you doing here? And I'm like, oh, well, okay, well, there's this girl, and I then jokingly say to her, but if that doesn't work out, maybe you and I, and she unfolds her arm, and she had a wedding ring on, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, so-and-so, and this guy stands up, and then the guy and her go into the room. The guy comes back out, but she doesn't. She was one of the casting people. And so that like 5 to 10 minutes that we had of just talking and me flirting and stuff.
Yeah.
She was like, that kid, absolutely, we want him on the show. So that is like the
that's pretty
long answer to how did I get on that show.
I thought that was the story to your first threesome, but then I remembered you're the 40-year-old virgin. I was like, so I get it. See the real life 40-year-old virgin. Like we watched this movie 20 years ago. So now it's religious. I'm assuming, right? You're Mormon. This is kind of
religious and by this point in my life, like where I've had chances, you know, especially where I think of myself as a liberal Mormon, right? Okay. So sometimes people will, when they hear that I'm Mormon, will go, "Oh, you're Mormon," and in kind of like this disgust way, and I shoot back, "Don't worry, I'm one of the good ones," as though like I totally understand what you think of all of us, but no, I'm one of the good ones. And
I got a question. Question, Skippy. Have any like hotties come along to try to, you know, get that feather in their cap to take your virginity? Like come on, like really strong to try to do that?
I've had one girl who genuinely, and it wasn't until I was at her place that I realized, oh crap, this is what this is.
Yeah.
Is, her going, that's it. Let's see. And I got, when I went over to her place, I had this feeling where,
crap.
I swear to you, I felt like, and you can call it your own intuition, right? But I felt almost like it was God telling me, right? Like there are cameras in this place right now. Be aware of that, right?
Wow.
And so when I went in, even as I was talking to her, and I felt sure of that, and she started saying to the whole like, so here, let's go sit down kind of thing. And I
nice. It's like a porn movie. Like this is how a porn starts.
Like a bad porn.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said to her the words like, so if anyone watches this on videotape, because I kind of feel sure that I'm getting videotape, I want it known that I'm pretty sure that this is being videotaped right now. And I said, and on the odd chance that I'm not being videotaped and you're just offering me sex, I said, either way, I'm going to disappoint someone with what I'm about to say right now. And she's like, what? And I go, okay, if I understand right, you just offered me sex. And she goes, Skippy, sometimes you just get horny and stuff. I go, okay, how about this? I would be willing to suck on your tits and then go masturbate because there's no chance that I'm having sex with you right now. Sorry, right?
So that would be okay though if you just
mood killer that.
Yeah, I think it's awkward. I'm sure.
No, but would that have been all right if you just sucked on him and jerked off? Like, would that be cool? Like,
well, and that's the thing. No, for the like, of course not with your bishop, but that's why I was kind of saying out loud.
Tell your
like,
bishop, though.
If
I mean,
anyone is
things
watching,
you don't tell him.
Yeah, I knew I was going to piss off someone. You know,
so,
like
so what's
my bishop, and Mormons don't like me for the most part because they're like, oh, he doesn't represent us. You know,
you're like Donny Osmond,
where I'm like pro gay marriage and pro medical marijuana, even though I don't currently partake of it. Right?
Yeah.
But like, there's going to always be people that are like, oh, no, he is not one of us. Yeah, but that's
so
true.
Unless
you happen to be 42 and a virgin.
So you got to be married in order for it not to be forgivable, right? So you have to get, but you guys can marry as many people as you want, right?
No. That's the fun. Do you know my last name by chance?
I don't. Oh,
my last name is Jessup.
Yes.
It's the 6th largest name in polygamy, and I've met enough people that have said like, oh, like what you were saying, like, oh, you must be a polygamist. I'm like, I don't have one wife, let alone many wives,
Yeah,
right? Like,
but you could could you
so-
if you wanted to? Like if you decide you want to be like, hey, listen, I want a baseball team of wives.
Well, not the Mormon church that like the Mitt Romney, Donny Osmond Mormon
Okay,
church, right?
okay.
There was a time when it split off, right?
All right.
And so I had someone ask me one day what my dream job is, and I can list like 3 or 4 things, but one of my 3 dream jobs, if like someone walked up to me and said, pitch me an idea. My first thing is I want a reality show. Okay, well, you can't do that. What else would you like to do? One of my things is I would like to start my own polygamy tour company, right? Where I would call it Polygamy Tours of Utah. And I would show people in Utah where polygamists live, because
I'd
my
go.
great grandpa's brothers were polygamists.
Okay.
But when they split off, I think it would be fun for people that come to Utah thinking like, oh, I'm going to see polygamists. Well, no, because the majority of us are not.
Yeah.
But there are places where they are at, and I know some of them, and I'm related distantly to some of them.
Yeah.
So I would kind of be perfect to take people on tours of that. So if you're watching this and you have $100,000, I can. I've got a business plan of how we start a tour company.
So
I
here's
think
the
your
thing.
idea. Sorry, Arty.
No, go ahead, Adam. Yeah.
No, I think your idea sounds better than being an actual polygamist. That just sounds like too much work.
Yeah.
Like it's hard enough to get to know one woman. I don't want like 5 different.
Or at
you
least-
gotta get on the same cycle.
I agree. Like the marriage, yeah, that's the thing. They all cycle up, and it's a fucking nightmare. No, but like
Yeah.
the fact is, like it's like you have your wife, you have your family, you have your kids, but like you don't want to do that at times too. You want to have your wife, your family, your kids, and your girlfriends. You know what I mean? Like they said in Goodfellas, where Fridays are for the wives, but Saturdays at the cabana are for the girlfriends, right?
Yeah.
Not your second wife or your third wife, because like listen, marriage it's great, it's fine. And that's the thing of the one, but then like to bring more people into it would just be a very like I would feel a very awkward situation. Like how do you divvy up the sex time? Like I would think about stuff like that, or like if one's telling you about the garbage, but the other one wants the house painted, where's the priority?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
horrible.
who trumps the other? Is it whoever you married first? Is the youngest? Is the hottest?
Doesn't that whole thing ultimately come down to a selfishness, right? Like that whole system, whether you're polygamous or whether you're just like Donald Trump raw dogging, like porn stars, or while he's married to Melania and has his like kid kind of thing, or let's use a fictitious person, Tony Soprano, right?
Okay.
You've got Carmilla at home, but then you've got the side piece over here kind of thing.
Yeah.
It ultimately comes down to being just selfish and saying, hey, I want to be able to have my life that's nice for the public, but then I want to just be able to dip the pen into the ink. And often those people are the same ones that don't want the girl to have
that's
partners.
the case. Yeah.
They want it. And so it's just about being selfish and that kind of thing. So
I wonder, because like, especially with polygamy, it's an agreement on both sides, right?
yeah.
So you have to assume the wives are okay. And I would imagine that some of the wives, they opted into that. So it's their choice, which means it isn't just selfish on the husband's part. The wife might be like, well, I don't want to be with him every fucking day of the week. Well, I'll do 3 out of the 7 or 4
For the
out of
first
the
year,
7.
but then the wife will figure out a hobby that she'll.
Well, and then they grew up like you figure that polygamy, because I used to work at a pizza place in a town called Saratoga Springs, Utah, which was a couple of miles away from where they actually filmed the show. Oh crap! What's the name of that show? It was on TLC, the polygamy TLC show. Not Big Love, because that was
shit! I remember
Sister
that
Wives.
show. Yeah,
Sister Wives, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so this pizza place I worked at was like 2 or 3 miles away from where Sister Wives was filmed, right? And the pizza place specifically had half the kids that worked there were polygamous, because they were like great hardworking kids and everything like that. And my friend was the owner of the pizza place. And once one polygamous kid got hired, they kind of let it known within the polygamy group, like, hey, this guy will hire polygamous kids.
Yeah.
And so my buddy had like half of us working there were like Mormons, and half were like polygamous from that from that
The
side
other
of it.
group, yeah.
And
A
so
and B.
I had one day where I showed up for, guys, I'm going to tell you something here that I am so excited.
I was going to give you this thing.
Go ahead.
We got 3 minutes left in the show.
I didn't want to interrupt and sound like a dick. I just wanted to say, we're approaching our...
Okay, sometime have me tell you the story.
We'll have you back on because I need to know more about you because
I agree.
We're just cracking the iceberg right now.
Story.
Yeah, save it for next time.
Story to tell you.
All right. Well, Skippy, I'm gonna tell you, I am intrigued, and we gotta bring you on. We'll start the show a little bit later just to have you on for the entire time because I get so many questions for you that I don't have enough time to even ask right now. So.
Oh, I haven't told you about the time I asked Britney Spears out on a date when I was 22 and she was 18. Right?
And what'd you say?
I sang with Ben and J-Lo when Ben and J-Lo were engaged. Right? I got to sing with them and drive them around. Like I have some crazy, incredible stories that you wouldn't expect a guy that has like literally less than $100 in his bank account and is riding a bike to the thrift store he works at to have, right? Like people get blown away all the time by how interesting and yet pathetic I am, and I guess that's what makes me entertaining.
Skippy,
so
we're gonna have you
having me on your guys' show.
Yeah, we're gonna have you back on real quick. What's your YouTube page so people can search you?
All of my stuff is at I am Skippy. I am Skippy on Instagram. I am Skippy on Cameo. I am Skippy on YouTube. And if you want to support me through my channel, $5 or more on Venmo, at I am Skippy. Thanks, guys, for having me.
I am Skippy. Check it out. Mac, what are you plugging, my man?
I just my Twitter, OHara Mac, and then I have a TikTok, which is going to be down soon anyway, but that's OHara Mac too.
All right. Ryan, what are you plugging, my man?
Check out my recent article, Jay-Z labeled D Haven a snitch, but partnered with a DA informant.
All right. Mr. Mallet?
If you find me on YouTube at The Whirlwind Potato, and obviously check out thepacky.com.
All right. And you can get me on The Wicked Explorers, The Wicked Bricksters, and the Packy, of course.com. Mac,
Brian
Skippy.
Glover is awesome.
Brian Glover is the man.
Brian Glover, who set this up, is a stud.
Skippy.
I love that guy right there.
Skippy, we're going to have you back on because I have so many questions to ask you. We're going to do this again. We'll do this again soon.
Surface.
Yeah, so
we're just scratching the surface here.
Thank you all guys for joining us tonight, and we'll talk to you, all of you, very soon. So take care and have a good one, guys.
That was a lot of fun.
Bye.
All right, buddy.
Bye.